Right guys, today we are 3 weeks and 6 days into our enhanced journey, and we're going to be taking you guys through a full update, everything I've noticed that has changed, any positives, any negatives, any side effects, and also everything that hasn't changed and has stayed exactly the same. So this is a 4-week update of my enhanced journey. Let's get straight into it. Right. Let's get started. Start off with, we're just going to cover kind of the basics of what I'm on in case you guys aren't up to date. So I am currently on 200 milligrams per week of testosterone and enanthate. We started that on Monday, 3 weeks and 6 days ago. So as of tomorrow, that'll be officially 4 weeks, but we're doing the video today. And we've been doing daily injections of 0.1 ml of 300 milligrams per milliliter dosed testosterone and enanthate. So therefore that adds up to across the week by doing 0.1 7 times a week. You're getting close enough to 200 milligrams, maybe just over. So that's what we've been doing. We have been using insulin pins, 0.5 inch in length, 29 gauge and 1 milliliter capacity in the syringe. I know a couple of you guys asked questions about that. So we're going to start with, what should we start with?
I don't know what the options are.
Positives, negatives, or the things that have stayed the same?
Start with the negatives.
That's the negative first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get it over and done with.
Get it over and done with. So, the negatives. I currently only have one written down here because we're very early on. So, at this point, 4 weeks in, we will have not, as I spoke about in my other video, we won't have reached kind of peak stable blood concentrations of the testosterone yet. We'll be getting there, but yeah, things won't have quite reached kind of their peak stable dosages. So, in that sense, I wouldn't have expected a huge amount to happen, but there's still been a few little noticeable things. So, negatives. The only thing that I can say is a negative is just the injecting every day. It can be a little bit of a pain in the arse, not in the fact that it hurts doing the actual injection because it's such a thin needle, but more so sometimes the post-injection pain can be a bit of a pain in the arse, literally, or the pain in the ventricle more specifically. And also just remembering sometimes, I haven't forgotten yet, but sometimes it's just like, you want to crack on with work or something, but you're like, oh, I've got to do an injection. Not a big deal, but I would class that as probably a negative. What's next? Things that stay the same? Yeah. So things that I've not noticed any change in. These are areas I've specifically picked out that probably will get affected at some point, but I just haven't noticed anything as of yet. Okay, so sex drive hasn't changed. Generally, I have pretty high sex drive anyway. And I haven't noticed any difference in that. It hasn't gone up, hasn't gone down. Seems like it stayed pretty much the same. Number 2, there's been no testicular atrophy. Obviously, when you are injecting exogenous testosterone, that signals to your body that you no longer need to produce endogenous testosterone, which is done in the testicles. And that's why, there's the myth that it's like, oh, your dick's going to get smaller. That's not actually true. But what can happen is your testicles can atrophy, so get smaller, because they are not needed to do their job whilst you're injecting exogenous testosterone. Okay, I've not noticed any changes as of yet though, but once again, we're very early on, so these sort of things probably take a little bit more time to kind of kick in. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. Thirdly, acne. So acne, I would say, has stayed pretty much the same. From me obviously seeing my skin pretty much every day, and the main place that I'll ever and have ever really suffered with acne has been on my back. Like face acne, chest, shoulder, I don't really suffer with at all, fortunately. But throughout when I was going through puberty, which is also happens to be the time when I really got into the gym, I don't know whether it was because of the fluctuating hormones or whether it was just because I was doing badminton, doing gym, sweating loads, not necessarily being as hygienic as I should be as well. I definitely had some back acne during my teenage years, which I still have scarring from. Also a bit from my adult years, but it was definitely probably worse when I was a teenager. But yeah, that's the area that I'm prone. If I'm going to get spots, I've noticed it comes on my back. And it's been pretty clear, to be honest. I think I've had maybe like one or like maybe two. You've
had a few. Not in a bad way. You've had like a handful. But over 4 weeks is nothing really.
Yeah, a handful of spots on my back over 4 weeks, which is definitely better than last time when I went enhanced and when I was on testosterone. I don't know whether that's just because of the place my body's in now, whether it's just more stable in general, or whether it's because of the daily injections that's making the testosterone levels and the hormone levels more stable, which means there's less fluctuations, which means there's less reason for my body to be having those eruptions in in kind of the spots, which can often be caused by those fluctuations in hormones, or whether it's because of the new hygiene routine, which I'm being a lot more strict with as soon as I get back from the gym, showering, washing, especially my back. Whereas before, sometimes I'd come back from the gym, have something to eat and then shower after, which is not bad by any means, but that could very easily be the difference between me getting more spots on my back compared to me not. Also, we're being more stringent with kind of like exfoliating, moisturizing properly every day, all of this good stuff, eating really good food, sleeping really well. So all of this stuff will definitely be contributing, and I'm certain has had an effect, but it's hard for me to know exactly what has been the reason why it's been pretty fine this time around so far. But as I said, we're really early on. So yeah, acne, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't changed at all so far, which is good. Fourth and penultimately, hair. Okay, obviously quite a common thing with guys who go on steroids is due to like DHTs and other things that going on in the body. Hair loss. It can accelerate hair loss or it can cause hair loss. Fortunately, I have reasonably good genetics, I think, with my hair. Got some nice thick curly hair, as you can see. And generally, yeah, my hair is looking very healthy, no issues at all. And finally, my voice. So quite a common thing when you go on anabolics and increase your androgen load. For certain reasons, your voice can get deeper. And this is quite often when you find, especially females, it can be really noticeable when you get females who go on anabolics. They noticeably will get a deeper voice, depending what they're taking. But that's quite a common thing. But yeah, it happens to guys as well. Their voices will get deeper, and I'm sure it probably will over time. Yeah, I think last time I did actually notice a bit of a difference. Aaron's shaking his nodding his head. Aaron noticed the difference last time, so I expect it will probably happen eventually. But for now, we haven't really noticed anything. And then on to the positives. Number one, I've definitely noticed a marginal improvement in fullness, just day to day, both inside the gym, but also just walking around normally, doing normal things. I just feel a little bit fuller. Like when I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror, I feel I look a little bit fuller. It's not like a crazy difference by any means, but it's just a little bit of extra fullness. However, it's hard for me to put my finger on whether this is because I'm eating so much more food than I was a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago even, because as I said, prior to going enhanced, I had a couple week period of basically not eating, and even prior to that, when I was on point, I wasn't eating as much as I am now. So could just be the increased carbs, the increased food, increase of glycogen in the muscles. So that could all definitely be contributing, and I'm sure it is contributing partially, but I expect maybe the testosterone also is having a bit of an effect when it comes to just feeling a little bit fuller. And number two, and once again, I don't know whether this is placebo or not. It's very tricky to know on such a low dose. It's very hard to like differentiate what is actually from the testosterone and what's just from me having a good routines and good healthy lifestyle since I moved in with Aaron. So yeah, number two is generally if I'm waking up and I maybe feel like I didn't have a great night's sleep, or I know I didn't have a great night's sleep the night before, I'll generally just feel like I can get up and go a little bit easier. But once again, I don't know if this is placebo or not, because I did have one night where I barely slept and then I was like falling asleep the whole of the next day, and that was while I was on testosterone. So I don't know. I feel like I've noticed a tiny difference, but it could just be my zest for life at the moment. It could be our body's just settling into a really good sleep routine, because as I've said, this is the most dialed in I've been, and probably both of us I would say have been with our sleep routines, evening and morning, which inevitably is going to improve the sleep quality. It's not going to be an instant thing, but that definitely will have developed over the past couple of weeks, so it could just be like a side effect of that. But yeah, that is definitely what I've noticed. Right, so I'm currently editing this video. Aaron, say hello. He's doing cardio, hard at work. And I forgot that I didn't talk anything about my gym performance, so I wanted to just add this in. So gym performance, couple of things to note. So I have been seeing reasonably consistent progressions, especially in the compound lifts. Performance in the gym's been good, pumps in the gym have been good, energy in the gym's been good, but I wouldn't say it's leaps and bounds above what I would have been doing naturally anyway. I'd say we're talking percentages here, so I'd say maybe like 20% more progressions But part of that is also going to be because since going enhanced, we started a new training program. Like anyone, if you start a new training program with new movements that you haven't done for a long time or you've never done, there's going to be a quick kind of learning curve, but also a progression curve when your body's adapting to that movement, but also learning that movement and getting good at it, as well as building some muscle. So all of that collectively is going to mean your progression is going to rocket up. But then once your central nervous system is adapted, you've got very skilled at that movement, which will happen reasonably quickly if you're an advanced lifter. Then that's when that progress starts to taper off, when the progress is more based around kind of if you've built muscle and strength rather than if you've actually just got more efficient at the movement. So that's also something to take into account. I'm going to hand you back now over to past Sam. Enjoy. And that is pretty much it, guys. So those are the negatives, of which there's very minimal at the moment, as to be expected, but don't let that justify any sort of use of steroids, because once again, I really want to just exaggerate. I'm on an extremely low dose in the grand scheme of things. Steroids can do a lot of harm to your body. Steroids are not safe to do. They will F you up, especially if you're not sensible with them. So yeah, don't copy me. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Yeah, we'll probably be doing monthly updates, letting you know all the ins and outs, any side effects, everything that I run into. But for now, I think it's going pretty good, but I'll keep you in the loop. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one.